So, if a doctor has ever told you that you have a fatty liver, I know that can sound, well, pretty scary. But what if I told you that for most people, it absolutely does not have to be a life sentence? Today, we're going to dive into how your liver gets overloaded in the first place, and more importantly, the simple, practical, food based steps you can take to help it heal itself. Let's dive in. And this is the main thing to get right from the start. According to Dr. Leonid Kim, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is, in most cases, completely reversible. And this isn't about some kind of extreme, miserable diet. It's about understanding what's going on and using the right tools, starting with what's on your plate to fix it. So, how in the world does this happen? I mean, how does a healthy liver, our body's main detox organ, end up storing fat? Well, to figure out how to reverse it, we first have to get a handle on the mechanics of how it starts. At its core, the whole thing is really just a fuel problem. Think of your body as this incredible, high-performance engine. It's super efficient at storing fuel for later, but even the best engines have their limits. Dr. William Lee has this fantastic analogy for it. He says to imagine your body's fat cells are like a car's fuel tank. When you consistently eat more than you need, you just keep pumping fuel in, even when that tank is already full. Well, eventually, that fuel's got to go somewhere, right? It just spills out. And in our bodies, that spill of fat leaks into the bloodstream and gets soaked up by the liver. And it's so important to understand what kind of fat we're talking about here. This isn't the stuff you can pinch on your arm. We're talking about visceral fat. This is the dangerous, hidden fat that actually wraps itself around your internal organs. As it grows, it can literally outgrow its own blood supply, which means it gets starved of oxygen, becomes inflamed, and starts leaking all these harmful things that drive chronic diseases. This is the real troublemaker in the story. But here's where the story takes a really hopeful turn. Our bodies are not defenseless here, not at all. We actually have a built-in mechanism, kind of like a secret weapon, to fight back against all this excess harmful fat. This slide really lays it all out. On one side, you have white fat. That's our fuel tank. Its job is to store energy, but when it overflows, it becomes the problem. Then on the other side, we have brown fat, and you can think of this as the body's furnace. Its job isn't to store energy, its job is to burn it. And the process it uses is called thermogenesis. It's so cool. When your brown fat gets activated, it just fires up like a tiny little space heater, generating warmth. And here's the best part. Where does it get the fuel for that heater? It pulls it directly from the overflow in your dangerous white fat. So activating our brown fat is literally the key to burning away the very fat that's spilling into our liver. So our action plan here has two main parts. First, and this is the most obvious one, we need to stop pouring gasoline on the fire. We have to cut off the source of that overflow. And the primary culprits are crystal clear. Dr. Kim points his finger directly at the overconsumption of sugars, especially fructose and sucrose, which is just table sugar. Fructose is especially sneaky because it doesn't really trigger our body's fullness signals, which makes it incredibly easy to eat way too much of it. So what does that actually look like on your plate? Well, it means getting really serious about cutting out sugary drinks. They're just liquid sugar bombs. It means being cautious with dried fruit, where all that sugar is super concentrated. And it means cutting way back on high glycemic carbs like white bread that spike your blood sugar, and limiting excess saturated fats from things like fried foods. Okay, and please pay close attention to this one. Juices, even the ones that say no added sugar, are a huge problem here. When you strip all the fiber away from the fruit, you're just left with this highly concentrated shot of fructose that slams right into your liver. Eating the whole fruit with all of its fiber is always the better choice. Okay, so we've stopped adding fuel to the fire. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's start actively putting the fire out. We can actually do this by choosing foods that help activate our body's own natural fat-burning furnace. Think of this list as your fat-burning toolkit. And the best part is, these aren't some weird, hard-to-find ingredients. We're talking about simple stuff, adding healthy oils like extra virgin olive oil, colorful veggies like tomatoes, pantry staples like onions and beans, and just making sure you're getting enough protein. And here's the amazing science behind why this works. You see, these special compounds in these foods, like hydroxytyrosol in olive oil or lycopene in tomatoes, they directly trigger thermogenesis. They literally flip the on switch for your brown fat. And at the same time, the fiber and protein in things like beans help keep you feeling full, which stops the overeating that caused the problem in the first place. And the clinical evidence for this is just amazing. Check this out. In one study, women who added just 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil to their diet every day lost about 6 pounds in just 9 weeks.
That's 62% more weight than the group using soybean oil. And most of that came from body fat.
And if you thought that was cool, get this. A Japanese study found that adults who ate about half a quercetin-rich onion every day for 12 weeks saw an 8-fold decrease in their dangerous visceral fat compared to a placebo group. An 8-fold decrease! That's the power of simple, everyday foods.
Here is another fantastic, super practical tip. A study found that people who ate a high-protein breakfast ended up eating way less processed, sugary food for the rest of the day. So, just by starting your day with protein, you can help control your appetite and cravings, making it so much easier to avoid the very foods that overload your liver. Now, food is obviously the cornerstone of this whole approach, but to really get a complete reversal, we need to zoom out a bit and look at the whole lifestyle picture. You gotta remember, this is a team effort. Staying away from alcohol gives your liver a much-needed break to heal. Getting regular, moderate activity and some resistance training helps your body use fuel more efficiently. And look, the goal here isn't something drastic. Research shows that losing just 5 to 7% of your body weight can be enough to see huge improvements or even resolve the issue completely. And if you ever, for a second, doubt your body's ability to heal, I want you to remember this incredible fact from Dr. Lee. The liver has this unbelievable capacity for regeneration. I mean, if you give it the right conditions, it genuinely wants to heal itself. So really, the takeaway here is one of empowerment. The science shows us a clear path forward. By removing the foods that overload the system and adding in the ones that activate its natural fat-burning machinery, you're not just fighting a condition, you're actively helping one of your most important organs to heal. The only real question left is, are you ready to give it that chance?